What's up, y'all? It's me, Tasha C. In this particular video, I will be viewing R&B Divas Season 3. What is this, episode 3 or 4? Okay, I'll put in the description box, whatever. But anyway, shout out to my YouTube fam, my old and new subscribers. And if you're not subscribed already, click down the subscribe button below and like and share this video. And let's get into it. We have a lot going on here. Let's get started with Latavia. And the reason why I did this is because I'm still wondering why is she on the show. I mean, to be honest with y'all, not to be funny or anything, but I think, like, if she wants to be on a show, as far as the ways it's going right now, I don't know if she's ready to be on this show. As far as a show that has to do with, like, using your voice for, like, at least 40% of the show, she is still refusing to do so. And, you know, her and Malia later on, they go to this exercise that was suggest. I think, you know, her and Malia, see, that's when we usually see Latavia, you know, outside if they have the little group meetings. Is her and Malia are good, you know, friends. Besides that, so Tasha Smith, y'all know that actress, like from Why I Get Married, you know, also the series and stuff. I think that's Tasha Smith, right? So they go to this acting class. And one of the things here is, like I said, she's still having to do something with her voice. And she, you know, it's called a dump session. It's basically like we're releasing all this pain. It was doing some action exercise because I forgot who, I think the lady's name started with an R, who was like doing the series. So they were the only two there. So Malia, which it was kind of sad, but we still see to this day about how people think you're ugly or don't think, you know, say all these cool stuff about you, about your physical appearance, regardless how cool you are, calling out now, just because, in, you know, what society or some people think, or, you know, majority rules. So it turns out Malia was, unfortunately, one of those children who had to suffer from because she didn't pass the brown paper bag test, that even her so-called friends, really foes, would sit here and talk about her and call her Tar Baby and all these names because she was brown skinned. And you know, this beautiful girl, but that's pretty sad, because I recently took a class about, in one of the chapters had, because this is one of those diversity courses, and one of the chapters had to do one part, I think it was somewhere in Brazil. It was one of those the countries whereas they're sitting over here bleaching their children's skin, the daughter's skin particularly. They say nothing about no boys, and trying to make them the lightest because the lightest is accepted. So unfortunately, this problem, you know, it's not just here. We know we hear about other people in other countries using lightening creams and stuff and changing shades. But it was just sad that she had to go through that. But I'm glad was able to release it, and she accepts who she is. She's a beautiful woman. And it's just sad that we still have this fuckery of you're only beautiful if you look this certain way, you have a certain shade, you have this certain size, you have this certain this, you have a certain texture of hair, certain, I mean, they're sad that there still occurs, but it's all about having self-love and rising above that. I'm sorry I sound like a PSA, but that's how I interpret it. So, you know, that's why it's so important to love you. You know what I mean? I love me. Not conceited, but just having, if you can look in your mirror, the mirror, and smile, if you know what I mean, that is beautiful. Because when you still get these negative Nancy's, these trolls on here, and all this other stuff, you're like, gone. And that's that. Okay. Anyways, then Latavia drops the bomb, and even when she's trying to say, she's first trying to avoid kind of saying things. She's a little hesitant, and then she finds out saying, expressing that she was molested, I think, between the ages of 7 and 9. We don't know if this piece of okay, this MF was a relative, mom's boyfriend, or somebody that they know, like, you know, congregation. I don't know. She never said who the person was. So, but she said she told her mom, and then 5 years later, I don't know if the guy went away or he just stopped or postponed. And then the person started doing it 5 years later to her again. She never says how long, but it was enough, whereas we see that this girl is still torn by those circumstances. So she decides, when her mother comes over, she realizes she's going to have a talk with her mom. And this is kind of like, the woman, even after she's able to express, so she said, like, you're powerless until you're able to sing your song. And somehow it's like she still, as we see, it's deeper than stage fright or whatever. It's something deep as she refuses to sing, and she just feels binded to just be stuck in this hole. And she even looked the woman crazy, like, sing? The fuck? I didn't come here to sing. I mean, she's refusing to sing. I'll sing when I get ready to sing. That's the same thing. I'm thinking, like, sweetheart, I mean, I don't know if you would better off going to Van and Fix My Life or another show, but it's just like, people are going to actually sing, and she's getting offended by it. And even we're trying to do it for, like, some type of therapy, as far as even consider, like, music therapy, so to speak, to help with this pain that she's still dealing with. She's like, nah. So she ends up talking to her mom. And you see the cute little baby and, in a crazy. Obviously, I think she's getting ready to move to a bigger place. And she ends up talking to her mom. And one of the problems was, and also, like I said, Kiki, again, we'll get more down later. I'll talk to her about her next, about her circumstances. So she sits here and she expresses to her mom about how she felt, and kind of like maybe her response with her mom. So it kind of distanced her mom and her for a while. And her mom admitted she thought like Tavia was one of those children. I mean, unfortunately, there are people who will make up serious situations, such as even now to molestation, pregnancy, deaths in the family. I mean, there are people who are messed up like that, okay? But it just seemed like her response was she didn't believe her, and the mom kind of admitted that, and she knows that I guess she apologized about how the reaction is, and I guess they were able to talking about. I'm like, with that type of circumstance, David will have to go to therapy herself, because it's like with that being torn, and then feeling like, and then your mom, technically betraying you, and then the same, like I said, it seemed like it was the same person was able to get away to keep hurting her and violating her. You know what I mean? And it's just sad. I hope God bless. I hope she's able to get, wherever to like get over those circumstances. So Malia, she goes to Rico Chappelle. Rico is getting he's making sure he's getting his portfolio to a couple volumes, okay? Because we see him at every show that has to do with Atlanta, I swear, nowadays. So, I mean, but never run out, get your name out there, get that money, okay? This is like the third show he been on, third or fourth? Yeah, because Warehouse 11, I know he did Candy's Dress. I think he was on with Tony or Trey, whichever Braxton. There's too many T's, but you get what I'm saying. So Malik is getting ready to dance. She's doing it with her dancer, getting her moves right, and she wants to, of course, she changed her image because she's trying to come out as a solo artist. And again, because I think she tried a couple years ago, not a couple years ago, but she actually was under, I think Faith was either managing her, or she was supposed to be under a record label that Faith was supposed to be doing, and it never fell through. The only thing I seen is, if y'all remember G Def in that song Every Day, I just remember I think she was singing background with Faith in that song, and I didn't see too much of her every day, and it kind of like just fell through flat. So anyways, she's sitting here, and the girl's talking about she's having a charity event, and she wants her to sing, so she wants to do this event. And also she goes to Rico Chappelle, like I said, he's got her, trying this dress, find something with a lie. So the night that they get, that she does perform, the thing was, she did have support from R&B Divas. I think the only one that didn't come there was Angie Stone. Even Monifa, which we'll get into in a minute, because she was still puffy from her liposuction procedure. But she did have, because it was a sound, it had a cord, a microphone. And, did y'all see how horrible they did when they had the editing before you seen the episode, next preview, when she was saying my girls that they had the nerves to edit us like everybody in the audience was sitting there like crickets and, sitting there filing their nails, and that was wrong, okay? But that's to get us to watch, okay? The power of editing. So, but there was a point there was standing up saying she appreciated that love and support. So that's good to know. Okay, that stood out her. Now, let's get to the Kiki situation. No. Let's get actually to the Monifa, because then we'll get to the Kiki thing. Because Selena, and then we'll get to the little Angie thing. Okay, Monifa goes, and she get ready to do this liposuction, or, as I think she said, suck out the fat thing. And Torre also knows, I believe, is Erica Badu's lost cousin, I swear, is sitting up here. And, they discuss it. She's sitting there talking about they're going to need a shower curtain, a shower rod, sanitary napkins, baby wipes, a furless fur coat, and everything else because of all the leakage going to have in 2 days and everything else. Oh, I'm thinking like, dang, I knew it was a lot of drainage and stuff. But it was just, my gosh. So they go in, and Torre, they have it, obviously. It's one of those surgeries they have, in, I guess, the same facility, whatever, that the office is. And so she's going to have anesthesia, and it's the type that you're still alert, but I guess you're supposed to feel little to nothing when it's being done. So Torre's outside the room, and, I got to give her a break. And I noticed that, shout out to the Libras, because I'm a Libra, too. She was saying something about, how Libras are, where we, how we try to balance stuff and try to be equal and all. We want peace and everything. Yeah, I believe that. Anyway, sorry, y'all. But, so, they have surgery, and Monique was like this, but as a cat, I don't blame when that mess started kicking, because she kept saying, where am I? Where am I? Hold on. And it turned like, I hope she wasn't able to feel anything, because the way she was saying, it was just a little too much, okay? I could see Teresa, because I was just like this. I'm like, I understand she wanted to make sure, due to the fact that she had previous chemical addiction. When I forgot to mention the last episode, she was worried about being, stuff like biking or anything, possibly had suffering, and end up doing medicine abuse, I meant to say, sorry. So, so I don't know if she's just going to be a Motrin and call it a day, but we already know she's fine. And there was little to no complications after that. So, and then she's able to attend the Malia charity event. So Angie Stone, we see her really, the only time is that she's in the studio. I mean, we're going to get to that other scene because it really has to do with Kiki. We see her with Diamond, how they're still working out their differences aside. And one of her cousins was producer for somebody's album, stuff like that, supposed to be singing the hook, I don't want to fall in love, and instead of Angie singing it, she's trying to basically help her daughter get into the industry and stuff and get her name out there. And one of the things is doing this hook, and she's trying to encourage her and have one of the talks like they're working out on their differences and they're bonding more. And so that now we're going to get to the Kiki thing. Now, they give the goodness of having good editing software and now we've seen the end of last scene, y'all. I mean, of the last episode. Kiki was basically like, I'm sick of this shit, and I'm thinking she about to power walk out of there, face all, and everything out of there, right? But instead, surprisingly, she just do and went to the drums, just started playing everybody. I don't know if they got anything done, but at least what we seen in a good note. And here's Angie sitting here on the slide, okay, talking about, oh, I love it, the playing comes together. Now, what if Kiki would have left? Her thing is she trying to slide, hopefully, maybe to get her daughter, maybe if they have a season 4, she can get Slider in there as one of the characters, or at least a more supportive role in the next season. Okay, so everybody's saying Kiki just seemed like it, but I was surprised, but I was kind of happy that she didn't have to be like, I'm sick of this, and she just felt cool to play the drums and just was happy about it. I actually liked that scene, even though Angie was like, oh, this is a good opportunity, Hercules. And so we see Kiki, and she's talking to her mother. They go to the store, right? And as soon as they're up there about the shop, the mom says something, I couldn't hear something on her breath. And she's sitting there talking about, something about being fat. I don't know if she called herself fat or Kiki fat when she sees some nice thing. They sit down, and the mom admits that she has a lot of problems or snaps at people and stuff every day, all day. And except when she sleeps, as Kiki says later in the therapy session. And Kiki's like, can you please go into this therapy session? Even I'll go with you. Would you please go? And because the mom admitted, this is how you know so many problems. The mom is sitting here talking about, well, I've been going through stuff since I was a child, stuff been bothering me. And I'm like, this is like I said, the key is talk to me. Should have been the name of this episode, because there are a few people keeping it real, not in being on the serious side, This woman does need to see therapy, and actually Kiki too, and her brother as well. At least I don't know the other brothers, but at least her twin or whatever who looks exactly like her, they all need to see and talk to somebody, because these problems have been lingering on for years, and it has affected who they are today as adults. And so she didn't even admit it, that. And I'm sitting here like, you woman, you have grown kids, you got grandbabies, and you talking about since I was a child. I'm just saying here is that it's time to recognize to get help. Then she said she can never be happy, and I'm like, ooh, she don't think it is. So it's just a lot of stuff going on. And so Kiki and her talk, and like I said, I guess the mom realized she does need to make progress, because Kiki's saying like how her mom usually is. She's always she one time breaks a sewing needle, and she be cussing people out like a storm, and that's what the heck happens. And then she admits that it probably helped her a lot. And so Kiki talks to her mom later on, and she's just like, I hope, you're able to, she's like this, I'll keep paying you. Please keep going to that therapy sessions. Please, I'll pay for it. Please keep going. So hopefully Kiki realized to follow her own advice in that case. And also she would talk, but it is more of an understanding about why Kiki is the way she is, because it's somewhat one of generation to generation things, if you know what I mean. Y'all know what I mean? And unfortunately, it explains like why Kiki's so dependent, why she kind of spazzes out, because some of the behavior, as we see, comes from the home front and is continue on from there. Okay, so anyway, hopefully it's for the best when it get better. So anyways, that's all I kind of stood out to me, y'all. Other than that, y'all have a pleasant week, pleasant night, pleasant weekend. I definitely see y'all in the next review. Y'all take care.